what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So the prejudging for the 2024 Mr. Olympia Classic Physique division just wrapped up, and it was very, very interesting. So the first call-out was massive. You had 8 guys in the first call-out. Breon Ainsley, Michael DeBull, Urs Kalsinski, Wesley Vissers, Jose. You also had Mike Sommerfeld, Chris Bumstead, and Ramon Dino. Now, a couple interesting things about this very first call-out. They kept Wesley on the end the entire time. I think that Wesley was not as conditioned as he was at, I think, either Arnold. He was a little bit off here from his Arnold look, and it looks like he's outside of the conversation. The standout to me here was Urs Kalsinski. He looked incredible, and it looks like we are going to have a different top 3 this year. You can see in the middle, they're comparing Mike Sommerfeld, so he moved up, Chris Bumstead, and Urs Kalsinski. Now, unfortunately for Ramon Dino, it looks like he's completely out of the conversation for a top 2 spot, and it looks like he's also out of the conversation for top 3. Because the call-out that followed this, it was this same group of guys, but they sent Chris, Urs, and Mike back in line, so that's your clear top 3. Ramon stayed behind in the second call-out, and he was absolutely drenched. He was leaking sweat. His tan was running. But we'll get to that in a minute. So Urs looked incredible. Kind of a new look from Urs. He looked bigger to me, which I don't even know how that's possible because I feel like he's been at his weight cap for a while now. He gets up to like 280 in the offseason. But Urs really looked incredible. He was in great shape, but he was full. He looked big. His arms, his biceps looked improved to me. And I think the new haircut, the new blonde Super Saiyan hair, drew a lot of attention to him as well. But he looked really good. Mike Sommerfeld as well, who made it into the top 3. He looked bigger than he looked for sure last year. And I think that, I really think it's between Urs and Chris at this point. And Chris, of course, looked great. Chris doesn't miss, and I think this was no exception to that. I don't think that anybody knocked off the champ here. I still think Chris is going to win. But the next call-out, you had Ramon in the center, at least at the beginning, and he started dripping sweat. He looked like he was really getting gassed. And then they moved Ramon out of the center and put Breon in. So it looks like they're comparing Ramon and Breon for 4th. But they kept Wesley on the very end the entire time of that call-out. So, unfortunately for Wesley, not only does it seem like he's out of the conversation here as far as a top spot, but it also looks like there's a chance he might place the same or potentially worse than he placed at last year's Olympia. Keep in mind, he was 7th last year, and based on him being at the end of this call-out, which we've been through 8 guys now, that means he's looking at either 7th or 8th potentially. This was definitely Wesley not at his best. So in one respect, it looks like Ramon is probably going to get a little bit of redemption here because it looks like Ramon will place ahead of Wesley. But then on the other hand, Ramon is out of the conversation to somebody new, Mike Sommerfeld, a guy that hasn't beaten Ramon before. So still, it's kind of a bittersweet moment for Ramon because he beat the guy that we thought was going to be his rival here, Wesley Vissers. But then he got beat again by someone that hadn't beat him before, Mike Sommerfeld. And now Urs has moved ahead of Ramon as well. So it looks like we will be looking at a new top 2 here. And my gut tells me it's going to be Urs. That's second. All right, guys, today's video is brought to you by the Arnold Sports Festival. Go to their website, arnoldsports.com. Buy some merch. Buy some tickets for next year. Watch the replay of last year's live stream for free. And look forward to and anticipate another live stream in 2025.
I was born a bodybuilder and I will die a bodybuilder. This is the #1 bodybuilding show in the world. It was really spectacular. We're gonna go up to $500,000 for the winner next year.
All right, so let's get to the exciting part, the top 3 call-out. Urs Kalsinski, Chris Bumstead, and Mike Sommerfeld. They started out with Urs dead center, And Chris actually looked a little bit worried. He didn't have that confident look on his face when Urs was in the middle. But they moved Urs back to the outside at the end of the call-out and put Chris back in the center. And I got to say, I'm really impressed with Urs here. He really made a strong comeback to this Olympia after that showing at the Arnold. And I think this is part of what makes Classic Physique so exciting. The top guys seem to leapfrog each other on a pretty regular basis, and the placings change up a lot because now Urs has leapfrogged both Wesley and Ramon. But by far, I think this is the best that Urs has ever looked. Like I said, his arms look improved. He looks bigger. He looks fuller. Just overall, really good look for Urs. And he looks comparable with Chris. Honestly, in some of the poses, it looks close. And I think Urs may even be slightly tighter than Chris. But I think Urs still has a little bit of work to do on his back. I think Chris still has him in the back shots. Chris has just got an ultra-detailed, muscular back. And I still think Chris has a slightly better chest, slightly better arms. Just overall, I still think Chris is going to take the win here. But I think Urs is definitely going to be second, which is very, very impressive. Mike Sommerfeld really impressed me here too. But I think this call-out for this top three was very clearly between Urs and Chris Bumstead. This new and improved blonde-haired Urs that spent the majority of this offseason and even the prep covered up, not showing anything, kind of slipping out of people's predictions, and he came back with a vengeance. This is what I love to see, man. I mean, at the Arnold, it was like, well, maybe Urs is out of the conversation because Wesley and Ramon both beat him, but now here he is, probably looking at a top 2 spot, looking very favorably comparable with Chris Bumstead. But I still don't think he did enough to knock out the champ. Chris has won 5 times. He's been the standard setter in Classic, and he looks crazy here. I don't think anybody knocked him out. And I think that's what's so insane about Chris's legacy is he's really faced everybody. I mean, think about all the rivals that Chris has had through his career. All of them, people have talked about potentially beating him. Breon, Terrence, Ramon, and now Urs looking to be that number 2 contender. Well, number 1 contender, number 2 spot against Chris Bumstead. I love this, man. I love this for Urs. And maybe it is closer than we think. Maybe Urs does have a legitimate shot here because honestly, Chris looked worried in the very beginning of that call-out. When Urs was in the middle and they didn't move Chris in immediately, Chris's face didn't have that confident look that it typically has. That's not something that you see very often from Chris Bumstead, so that was interesting to see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who do you have winning? Urs? Chris Bumstead? Potentially Mike Sommerfeld? I think it'll be 1, 2, 3. Chris wins, Urs in second, Mike in third. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon so you don't miss an upload. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.